we have in our studio a man who wears many hats. He keeps reinventing himself. He's been India's first male supermodel. He's been a film producer, an actor, a TV actor, fitness promoter, a marathon man, Iron Man as well. And now in his latest avatar, he's a writer. Milind Soman, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about your book. 25 years after he climbed out of a wooden crate to the tune of Alicia Chennai's phenomenal Made in India music video, Soman is out with a memoir titled Made in India. So tell me, how did you begin this book? And also I want to mention here that Milind ran for us a marathon for our Greenathon, and we were together during that time, Milind, when you ran all the way from Ahmedabad to Mumbai. It's been many years since then. But yes, so how did you think of writing this book?
Well, it was actually Penguin's idea. They thought it would be interesting for people to know the way that I have lived my life, doing so many different kinds of things and why I did them and what it meant and so on and so forth. And I thought that it wasn't very interesting initially, about 4 or 5 years ago. But then a partner of mine, she said that, you have to do it. It'll be very interesting and it will, be fun for people to read. So.
Why would you think your life wouldn't be interesting? You've had such a varied life. You've been a swimming champ, marathon, modeling, acting, producing, etc. Everybody wants to know about your life.
Well, I'm glad, Gargi, that you want to know about my life. But when I look at a story, and I think those are the most popular stories when, the protagonist has gone through so much and they overcome some obstacle and then they emerge victorious. Those are the stories, I love fantasy and I love Marvel comics and superheroes. And so in my story, there isn't much of that, overcoming. I'm privileged. I've just got everything that I wanted in life on a platter. I challenge myself, which is different from life challenging me. And so I thought that, it may not be that interesting. But after having read the book, I think it's a lot of fun.
All right, a lot of philosophy in your book. You talk a lot about life and, living mantras, etc. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, it's basically the things that I learned right from my swimming, which I started when I was about 9 years old. I started swimming at the national level. What a child would learn growing up as a competitive sports person right till the age of 23. The kind of habits that are built, the kind of discipline that one learns, the kind of awareness that one has. And then that whole thing has been reaffirmed by my journey with running, which started about 17 years ago. And so it has actually helped me. The lessons that I've learned have helped me to live my life in a very happy way. So I think that's important. I think everybody today is looking for happiness. At any time. We may have called it empowerment, we might call it all kinds of things, but finally what we want is we want happiness.
And you've clearly found happiness in fitness, because that has been your journey in the sense from swimmer to marathon to Iron Man. You become a champion for women's fitness as well, the Pinkathon. So it's been quite a journey regarding fitness. Yeah,
because to me fitness means being happy. It means fitness is not about running for me. It's not about how much I can run, how fast, how far. It's not about lifting weights. It's about how you deal with your life in a positive way. If you're able to learn from every experience something positive that takes you forward and makes you a better person, or create an atmosphere around you where you can do well, people around you can do well, that ability determines your level of fitness. And that is, if you are fit in that sense, then you will be happy.
All right, and you've had a role in pushing people towards fitness. It's not everybody's idea of happiness to go out running some 20 kilometers, but I know it's something. And here, if you see these visuals of you with your mother, and that's been an inspiration as well. Your mother, the fact that she recently ran a marathon, she started running, only at the age of 60.
Yes. And the thing is, it's not about running. I understand that a lot of people will be intimidated by that fact, and a lot of people might say, but running is not something that I would enjoy. And I was like that, of course, and I discovered an enjoyment of running as I started to run. But what I really feel is that when you pursue something that you really enjoy, you pursue something that you love, not for commercial benefit, not for any other benefit, but only because you like it. So you make time for that, and that will teach you a lot about yourself. It will teach you about life. It will teach you about who you are and where you want to be. So that is something that you shouldn't let go of, right from childhood or whenever you discover it. I think that should be a focus for everyone, to find that one thing that they really love, they really enjoy, and something that can drive them and stick to that.
I remember when we ran for the Greenathon, and one of the arguments we used to have was about footwear. And you were, used to talk about running barefoot. You still promote running barefoot and just wearing canvas shoes. And so that's something you continue to do, and I found that very curious.
Yeah, I don't want to say that I promote anything, because the next thing you know, there'll be a million people on my head. But
Okay.
I enjoy running barefoot.
I just have that memory, and I couldn't believe that you used to run barefoot or very.
Yeah.
I remember your
Yeah.
shoes being very flat, and just these days, of course, there's so much talked about in terms of stress and footwear, and
Yes.
how our backs get affected by running on the road.
Yes. So I've of course discovered a lot through the last 17 years of running marathons, but I prefer to run barefoot because I think it makes me a better runner. I still feel that I'm learning how to run better, more efficiently, more effortlessly, and I think barefoot running has really helped me to do that.
All right, well, let's move away from the fitness and let's talk about how you've spoken in the book about how you went to a local RSS Shakha and how you really enjoyed it at the time. And,
Yes.
when these days where there's so much politics over the RSS, there's all this talk of the communal agenda, et cetera, and that you're very surprised when you read all these things.
I am. Because as a child, I mean, as a 9-year-old or 10-year-old, I didn't really see any of those things. I wasn't aware of those things. I don't even know at that time whether any of that existed. To me, it was just any group. It was like playing sports and games. The people there just encouraged you to be disciplined, to know what you want from life, to be independent, to respect everything around you, people around you, elders. And those were all good lessons which we know are good, and those are the things I imbibed.
All right, well, you also speak about your marriage. You recently, well, it's been a few years, but married, and a lot of attention was given to the age difference between you and your wife. How is that something, does it bother you? Because every now and then, one little article will come around regarding the big age difference, and is that something that troubles you? And tell us about married life.
So married life really has been wonderful. It's been 2 years now. We've known each other for more than 6 years. And I'm not bothered about, of course, what people say. I've never been bothered my entire life about what people have to say, their opinions and so on. It's nice to know about them, though. You know what's happening in the world, what's happening in people's minds, how they think, and how those thoughts are also changing. We see an evolution over the last 20, 30 years about how people think. And I think that is really showing that we are improving and evolving in a very positive way as a society. But to me, it really didn't matter. And if you talk about age, the age difference in a relationship, or any difference in a relationship for that matter, every individual is different. And that is something that both the individual need to work at, to understanding those differences, accepting those differences, loving those differences, and moving forward as a couple.
All right, and now Milind, you also talk in your book about stress being a positive thing. So just explain that to me, because everybody these days is talking about how to reduce stress and how stress can damage our health. So how is stress a positive thing?
So for me, I introduce stress into my life, and I've been doing that for many, many years. I create small
challenges. By stress,
challenges.
you mean challenges?
I create small challenges that can present stress for me physically and mentally, like, for example, running the marathon or doing the Ironman or doing Ultraman. And that really trains my mind on how to deal with challenges, how to deal with stress. So stress per se is not good or bad. It is how we deal with stress that will result on good or bad effects. If we can manage stress in a way that we can learn from it, we can improve ourselves from it, then of course stress is a good thing. But if we can't, then of course we can allow stress to destroy us. I mean, when I look at the human species and the kind of supremacy that we've achieved in the world today as being physically so weak compared to other species, it is because with every stress that we encountered, we innovated, we created something new, we went beyond every single obstacle, and we have arrived here at a point where we have nothing that can confront us except ourselves.
All right, and challenge ourselves. So it's how you deal with stress. And finally, in the book, you end by saying that all we can do is keep moving. What does that mean?
Well, that I think has something to do with the concept of age. A lot of people come to me and they talk about age because I'm 55 and so on. And how do you remain relevant? And over the generations, like I started my career maybe more than 30 years ago, and today, I'm doing stuff. And I say that, if you want to be relevant to society or to your family or to anybody outside of you, you need to be relevant to yourself first. If you are doing the things that you enjoy, if you are doing the things that you want to do, you are working towards achieving your dreams at any age, and you could be young, you could be old, you could be anybody. If you don't let go of those things and you are always relevant to yourself, you will remain relevant and inspiring to everybody around you. So that is something that has been quite easy to me, but it has been part of the journey.
Okay, so this is what we're going to read about in this book, philosophy from Milind Soman, his life mantras. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us about the book, and all the best for the book.